Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nahashon, and today we are the 254 Brewing Company. Yes, I had to confirm so that I don't mess up the name. And yeah, we have done a factory tour of this place, and Beers and I have Phyllis, that is, has reviewed all these beers which you can see right here in front of me. But for those, you're going to watch them in your channel. And yeah, so again, it's beer company, so many brands, like 15 of them. They can even build something custom for you. And they also have non-alcoholic. Today I was not drinking. Like, I've heard of kombucha so many times and I've never known what they are. So I'm looking forward to trying these. And yeah, so 254, it's in Kikuyu. And that's it. Now you're going to go straight to the factory tour to check how they make all these beers. Again, packaging. Packaging is everything. Like, look at that. Looks so nice. So yeah, without much thought, to the factory tour.
So welcome to 254. It's pretty something nice. So as you see, you'll film around and you'll see how 254 is.
Okay. So what room is this?
Oh, this is the tap room. This is where we do our bar sessions. This is where we do our testing sessions.
Okay.
And also this is where we welcome the community to come and have an experience of craft beers. Yeah. So basically we have a tap room. That's where we serve our beers, as you can look over there. And then this is where our guests sit
To have
and
their
enjoy their
drinks.
beers. Yeah.
Okay. And I can see some images on this wall.
So this is what we call our wall of has no particular name actually.
Okay.
But this will explain our evolvement, how we have like evolved from a small group to a very bigger group. And I will say this is more of our wall of loyalty, the customers that have been supporting us, and also the people that they really love the craft beer industry, something like that.
So we can also end up here someday.
So if you are loyal and you come here regularly,
I might end up there. Okay.
Oh, this is some of our merch. So we have a hoodie, we have a bag, carrier bag. Then we have t-shirts, we have bags to carry cold beer. So you can carry cold beer with those bags. Yeah. So this is where I'm more conversant with. So this is where I feel more confident talking about, not the other side. So this is the brew house. This is where everything takes place. So we have, in brewing we have the hot session and then we have the cold session. So this is the hot session. And basically what we do here, we use to make beer you need 4 ingredients. You need barley, you need water, and you need hops, and then you need yeast. So of the 4 ingredients, as you can have a peek over here. So you see this is barley, but this barley is called malt. The reason being it's malted barley. It's a process of converting the sugars inside the barley to more simple sugars. It's a very complex. It's not complex, it's just a process that happens outside the brewery. So for us, we take this barley. So according to how you mix this barley is how you get your beer. So the main goal for this barley, they give us what we call sugars to convert into alcohol plus sugar. And then they also give us what you call beer body, because you see, according to how heavy the barley is, that's how you get the body and the mouthfeel. Also, they give us the SRM. So how you play around with this barley is how you get the color of the beer. Yeah. So this is the first ingredient we work around with. So we take it into a mill room inside there. We just crush it to expose the inside. And then when we crush it, we come and put it here in this tank. So this tank is called a mash tank. So the goal of this tank is to do what we call now, to let the enzymes convert the sugars into not into alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
You see, what you have here is heavy sugars. So you need to break them down so that they can be able to be eaten by the yeast. Yeah. So this is where all that happens. So this it's not complicated. It's just a tank with a mixture. So you crush your barley, you put it there, and then you add water. So the water is preheated. So when you add in, you want to like fall at a range of 63 degrees Celsius temperature range. So the reason for that is in this barley we have an enzyme called amylase. So the amylase is what converts the sugars to simple sugars. Same case with your mouth, you have amylase. They break down carbohydrates. Yeah. So then here you have starch, which is a carbohydrate. Yeah. So it's broken down here to simple sugars. Then when that process is complete, now we go to the other tank. If you can show them the last tank over there, where we do. So that tank has what we call a first bottom. So the first bottom is kind of sieve-like. First bottom.
Oh, first bottom.
To explain myself further, what I meant by first bottom, it's, you see, this is the tank. It has two bottoms. There's an upper one and a lower one. So the upper one is sieve-like, and then the lower one is just punch. So you need to separate the grains, the ones that I showed you there, with the liquid. And then now the liquid now is called what? Because it's very sweet. It's full of sugars. You see? So to separate that, you need a sieve. So the first bottom is sieve-like. So you do what we call vol-off. So vol-off basically is just circulating the hot. So when you circulate the content, what that does, the husk from the barley or from the malt, they settle at the first bottom and they create a sieve-like figure. Then after that, as you do more circulations, you might get clear water, and then you are now able to pump it to the other tank. Yeah, which has a chimney. So you see the other tank with a chimney. The reason being, so when you put everything there, now you can be able to do what you call a boil. Yeah.
So that's why it has a chimney.
Yeah, that's why it has a chimney. So that's where now you boil, and then that's where also you introduce your ingredient number 3. So basically initially we are dealing with 2 ingredients.
Water and the grains.
Yeah, and the grains, which is malt. Yeah, but to be more, people call it barley, but it's malt. Yeah.
So we introduce yeast there.
No, not yeast, hops.
Hops.
Yeah,
hops.
Yeah. So you see, as you can understand, the hops are what flavors the beer. They contribute to more than 80% of the beer flavors, most beers. Yeah. So you can either get your flavors from malt, from yeast, or from hops. But most of the flavors comes from the hops. So if you drink something, it's tropical, it's luscious, that's the hops. So the hop is a very interesting topic, which I find it difficult explaining to people in the equator, because they mainly grow in the tropics. So and the reason they grow in the tropics is because at their time of germination they need like 16 hours of daylight. So I just advise people to go and read more about hops. It's a cousin to cannabis sativa actually. So
Really?
yeah. So just go and read about it. So what you get, they're flowers, they're climbers, flowers. So they climb and then they produce what we call flower buds. And then those flower buds are what flavor they use. But for us, using the flower buds, it's very tedious. You have to use a bulk of it. So how do you go way around it? So there are those companies that do what we call pelletizing. So we get pellets, hop pellets like this one. And if you can have you can get the aroma, the flavors. Yeah, so that's where the flavors come. So this.
So you don't buy the exact, you don't get the exact buds, you get this.
Yeah, we get pellets. So it can come in two forms, either in pellet or in form of an extract. So an extract is one that has been compressed under certain conditions to get something concentrated. Okay. So we have three types of. Are they three? We have three types of hops. If I get the fourth one, I'll add it from 3 to 4.
Okay.
So we have what we call bittering hops. So bittering hops, what they do, they bitter the beer, like they add bitterness to the beer. So any beer that you drink, you get most of the bitterness from the bittering hops.
Okay.
So that's what we add at the start of the boil. And then after that, when the boil is almost over, we add what we call flavoring hops. So it's like remaining 5 minutes. So the flavoring hops, what they add is what we call the flavor. When you drink a beer and you're like, oh, this tastes like a mango. No, it's not mango yet. It's the flavor that you get from the hops. Because mostly what the hops give us are oils. And the oils that they give us are what flavor the beers. And the same oils you get from hops, you can also get from fruits. Yeah, that's why there's that perception. Why is your beer so citrusy? Because of that kind of hop that has that oil that gives that citrusy kind of flavors. And then we have what we call aroma hops. So the aroma hops, they are basically added at a stage called whirlpool. So whirlpool is just a simple term of saying swirling. So we swirl the beer like it rotates. So when you're swirling the beer to rotate, what it does, one, it precipitates the proteins to settle, and then also you're able to extract the aromas from the hops. Now you add the hops there.
Okay.
And then after that, now you see you've boiled your pot, everything is sterile, it's above 80°C. You don't need, now you need to remove it from the hot session, the cold session. And you need to do it in a very swift manner to avoid one, microbial contamination, and also to avoid other organisms from, it's what? It's harsh sugars, it's like rich, anything can settle in there. So to be able to assist that on that, we pass the liquid in what we call a heat exchanger. So the heat exchanger rapidly cools the water from 85°C to below 30°C. Yeah, and at the same time passing through what we call you see the cone-shaped guy over there? That's a yeast injector. That's why we inject our yeast. You see, yeast above 35°C dies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to make sure it passes, when it's passing, the water is below 30°C, not to kill the yeast. So it passes through the yeast, through the piping out to the cold side. Now we can proceed to the cold side. As you can see here, you have added it. 3 ingredients.
Yeah.
Now we have added the 4th ingredient. When it transits. You see over there, it's all about boiling and raising the temperature. You had about 63°C, but over here you have to maintain it below 22°C for the yeast to ferment, unless it's a special beer, which is Belgian. Then they go up to 28°C to produce those what we call yeast instigated flavors. So for here, beers, we have 2 types. Beer is the family. It has two branches. So there is I don't know if you are aware of that.
Ales and lagers.
Yeah, we have ales and lagers. So for the lagers, they like fermenting cold, and then the ales, they can go up to high of 28, like the Belgian ales. So for us, we make 2 lagers, and we make the rest are ales. So the ale is another bigger family. So you can have Belgian style, you can have American style, you can have British style, and then you can have the common ones called the IPAs. So the IPAs are what we call Indian Pale Ales. So they were discovered during when the British were colonizing India. So they used to add more hops to the beer before being shipped. So when beer reached India, it was very flavorful and very, very nice. So that's where we go. The ideology of IPS came about. Simply means when the beer is ready for drinking, you add more hops and let it sit.
After it is ready?
Yeah, after it's ready.
Wow.
And what you get is more flavors. 1, 2, the beer has a longer shelf life because the hops have what we call a microscopic something, more of biology. So they preserve the beer not to go bad. Yeah. So one question, what determines the percentage is determined by the amount of sugars you extract on the hot side while you are mashing. You see? So if you want to have a higher percentage alcohol, you have to extract more sugars. So you have to play around with your malt grain bill. So if you wanted to have maybe like you wanted to have like 10%, you'll find using more grains to get more sugar rather than using less grains. Yeah, it's more of like playing with the grains, getting more sugars. That's how you get your alcohol. Because an alcohol is a product of breakdown of sugars to alcohol plus CO2. Yeah. So the more the sugars, the more the alcohol. Yeah. So the reason I call this cold side, you see these guys, they are called fermenters. So they are temperature controlled. So everything here, like if I set this guy to 20 C, it shouldn't pass over there. You see? So to maintain the temperatures, when yeast is eating the sugars, it's a chemical term, let me not use it. What it does, it produces energy. And the beer can warm up to 40. But to prevent that, you have cooling mechanism on this tanks. So if you can have a pick over here, so you see these things are jacketed. So there are 2 layers. So you have the coolant coming from the bottom, getting from the top. So that it circulating to maintain the temperature of this guy to what I've set. So when it reaches what I've set the temperature, so that valve switches off. It's called a solenoid. Yeah. So basically, like this one, this is actively fermenting. So when it's on its initial stages of fermenting, it produces CO2, which I don't want. So I let it bleed off, as you can see over here. And when it's done bleeding off, when it's done fermenting, I do what we call dry hopping. So I add my hops from the top of using a hop torpedo from the bottom. So the hop torpedo like to the top, and then I give it 3 days so the hops settle to the bottom. As you can see, the fermenters are conscious. So the reason being is when I dry hop, when you have yeast inside and you have hops and you need clear beer, you see. And for us, we don't filter the beers, or we don't have what we call a bright tank. So what we do, we do what we call cold crushing and let everything settles. So when you cold crush, the yeast settles. So you're able to harvest the yeast to reuse for other purpose, for other beers. And also the sludge, the hop sludge also settles. So you pull the sludge. There are 2 arms, as you can see. So one arm is like extended inside to around here. So you pull the sludge until you get clear beer coming from the one that is extended. So that's how we do filtration. So that's why when we tell you our beer is live and natural, that's what we mean. other breweries will pass their beer through a filtration medium with other filtration things, and then they add chemicals to stop I don't know what. As we don't do that. As we just called crush it, they just take a mixture of something and put it in the fridge and let it settle, and then you have your liquid on top.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's how we do it. And when we are able to cold crush it now, it has passed all the QC parameters, we push it to the bottling line.
So we head to the next stage.
This is a bottling line. So we have an 8 filler and we have a 4 filler. So currently the 8 filler is not yet working, so we are using the 4 filler. So basically it's easy peasy. Fill, cap. Yeah, you just fill it over here and then you cap over there. And then this, so you pull beer to this tank, and then this tank is pressurized. It's for us, we use the CO2 as a preservative. So you make sure, beer doesn't like oxygen. So everything in any process after beer is ready, you have to push away oxygen. So this tank is filled with oxygen, with CO2, pushing away oxygen. And at the same time, after that you pull beer. When you pull beer, it's able now to fill. And the filling involves, you first purge the bottles, CO2. So that removes any air. And then after that, when it's full of CO2, you now fill the bottles isobarically. Like fill while the pressure going back to the tank. And then after that, you cap. Put the caps on, cap.
Wow.
Easy process.
So that's the whole process.
Yeah.
Wow, and you really do have a wide variety. How many beers do you have?
Apparently right now we have, so these tanks hold 2 of our majors. And then you have another tanks, if you can go on that side, that hold another 2 small majors.
Okay.
So that's a tough question because we keep making new beers. every day.
Yeah, because I read Mara 15,
Yeah.
sometimes 13, sometimes more than that.
That's a tough question. You'll ask the salespeople how beers they are, because for me I've made more than 85 recipes.
Wow.
Yeah. So you see we have different capacities.
Yeah.
So you see for the most selling, we put them in the bigger tanks. For the small experimentals, we put in the smaller tanks.
Yeah.
And then we have, these are 1,000 capacity, then those are 2,000 liters capacity. For those that are like selling but not as quick as the 3,000 liter capacity, we put them in 2,000.
Okay.
And then we have what we call regular IPAs, we put them in 1,000 capacity. So if you make a beer on the 200 liter capacity and it's like on high demand, we elevate it to 1,000.
Yeah.
And then when its demand increases, we elevate it to 2,000, and then finally to 3,000. So
Wow.
that's how we are able to craft our adventure. We like every day, every time you are making new beers, new recipes. You're not glued to the same ideology of making common beers like what we are used to. No, we try to experiment, we try to make new beers, we try to make new recipes, we try to utilize local materials to make beers. Like there is a beer that we utilize the coconut
Wow.
to make beer. Like we used the madaf, the water, the coconut water to make beer and see how it turns out. And there's also a beer that we utilize the beetroot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it turned out nicely. People loved it.
I'll have
but
to
that
try it.
that we made more of a Valentine's beer. It was very red and very tropical.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the 3,000 any cylinders like? What are your most selling beers?
Most selling. So we have 2 which are most selling as of now.
Uh-huh.
We have the Suntrap. It's an IPA. Selling really nicely. It's really nice. I also like it.
Yeah.
Then we have Nihao. It's a lager.
Yeah.
So you see the 2 families we have balanced out. So we have lagers for the lager lovers, and then we have the Suntrap for the IPAs and all ale lovers. or people who want to change.
Yeah.
So you find most people taking, they are lager lovers, and then they taste the Santam and they're like, wow,
They love ales.
I don't want to turn back.
I hope, I believe we'll have the same experience actually. So, what are these? Kegs?
No, these are kegs.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you can either package your beer in kegs or bottles.
Yeah.
Unlike the notion of Kenya, where people say kegs are just, it's a type of beer. No, it's not a type
No,
of beer.
it's the container.
It's a container.
Yeah.
So for us, we have different customers that like our beers in either form of kegs or bottles.
Okay.
So and we have those. So for the tap room,
Yeah.
they use the kegs
The
to
kegs.
dispense the beer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there mini kegs like zenye unaweza uziwa nazo?
Yeah, we have a system. We only have one type of keg.
Easy.
Yeah, this one. They are called narrow slim kegs. They hold 30 liters.
30 liters.
Yeah.
So there are no mini kegs.
There's no mini kegs. But if you have one, you can come and
You
fill
can come
it.
and buy
Yeah.
beer from here.
Yeah, we fill it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we are adventurous. We are open like for.
Yeah. I think I would prefer having the mini keg. Nikuwa nakuja for like 5 liters of beer. I think
Yeah.
that would be a good idea.
That's very viable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry? The pump. So as we don't encourage use of pump, because pump you suck air and push beer.
Yeah.
And as I told you, oxygen is an enemy of the beer.
Yeah.
So if you ever tasted a beer that is oxidated, it is nasty, really nasty. So you have to use CO2. And for the fact that
There is nitrogen too.
our
Nitrogen for
or you can use nitrogen for what we call nitrogenated beers. For us, we made a nitrogen stout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So guys, that's it for our 254 brewery tour, and we thank Kevin for taking us through. It has been amazing learning how these great beers are made. So thank you, Kevin.
Welcome, most welcome. Any questions
You can find 254 on Instagram, on
Yeah.
Facebook.
and
Yeah.
if you ask any questions on 254 Brewing, we'll definitely answer, no matter how complicated the question is. Yeah.
Okay, guys, bye, and please make sure you drink 254 beers.